With all the flying missiles between Russia and Ukraine, one thing has been made clear: Elon Musk has chosen to side with Ukraine, and he has supported them by supplying equipment for effective intelligence operations. But you might wonder what kind of plan Musk has this time to beat Russia. In this video, we share it all, so why don't you click the like button below to mark today's register? It helps our channel grow. Now let's get started. Musk has taken it upon himself to use SpaceX to power up a formidable air defense that is about to shock the world. SpaceX is a rocket company that was founded by Elon Musk in 2002. This was after he had sold his previous company and decided to throw all his money into his 3 companies, which are all doing well. SpaceX is one of them. The company creates space transportation. Their rockets have grabbed the interest of NASA and, more recently, the government as a whole. This is due to the amount of power and intelligence that these products can provide for the US. This is why the US has seen an opportunity for using some of SpaceX's technology for military defense purposes. The United States seems to have warmed up to Elon Musk and his great leadership in future technology. Much of it could be due to them realizing that they need the multi-billionaire SpaceX CEO. The US government has decided to collaborate with Elon Musk in a $102 million deal. They will create this Air Force defense project, and according to various sources, it will blow everyone's mind on how effective and massive the project will be. This will allow the US to not only defend itself, but also its alliances, like what is currently happening with Ukraine. This means that this collaboration will be solely based on using SpaceX technology for military purposes. This would form a specialized department within SpaceX, which focuses on the military equipment for the US government. You would think that the government would be using this technology to create missiles and other military weapons, but it turns out the deal is specifically for creating transportation for military weapons and humanitarian aid, and to deliver them across the world in a short space of time. Not much has been given in terms of the specs, but it would be really helpful. This space-based transportation could reach its target from across the world within minutes. That actually seems to be the goal. The US government has not held this deal as a secret. However, they also made it clear that the SpaceX deal is one among many other deals with various companies. The idea is to create better logistics that is intended to be global and effective. With all this being stated on the government's website, one thing seems to be clear though, and that is Musk's rockets might dominate this space cargo initiative due to the number of tests and reliability it has shown through the years. It is also locally manufactured, meaning that the government won't have to depend on other countries like Russia and China, as they have in the past. They might be using multiple rockets from the company in order to make sure that they are able to transport goods worldwide without days of waiting time. This amount of space logistics would be a game changer for the industry, as well as for the effectiveness of the government to communicate and deliver physical goods at a moment's time. Now, at face value, it might seem that SpaceX will be a taxi in space, simply transporting military equipment from one area to another. However, there is much more to the whole project, since SpaceX is also concerned with future space technology. Their transportation routes will be traced by the company and the government. The data collected during the trips will help the government create, maintain and establish routes for their transportation now and in the future. This will make space traveling around the planet much easier and safer. The data collected will also help the government establish lands where there could be centers to assist in case of emergencies and landing spots. So this exercise will greatly improve routes even for commercial flights too. There will also be other data collected, which may include weather patterns while creating crafts that are weatherproof. As soon as the flying starts happening, the sooner landing sports are established. This will mean that the government will be able to be anywhere in the world when they need to be there, and the military will never run out of equipment when running operations in spots around the planet. The advantages of this contract are not only based on the fact that the government will be able to move goods from one point to another, but that the cargoes themselves are huge. It will be the largest ever amount of good move from one point to another at the same time. This is why the deal has been termed the point-to-point transportation. Pentagon is very keen to have this idea realized, as this will not be moving next door but around the world. It's more like a huge truck in the sky. Should this work, the contract is not binding through the movements, but it will be measured on a trip-to-trip basis. Remember when I said it was more of a taxi? Yes, that's what we mean. Let us know in the comments section if you would apply to be a SpaceX rocket driver. and let us know what the profession would be called. Building sites that would mark the space transportation's point A to point B is not a walk in the park. You would need to seriously plan for this with accurate data. This means that there will be test sites that might also not be useful in the long run. Making it commercial would mean that the landing spots would also need to be acquired the right way and be as stable as possible. It turns out SpaceX is the first company to establish this, and the tricky part about adding more manufacturers is whether they would be able to reach the level that SpaceX already operates at. This means that although the government might be trying to be diplomatic and fair, the country will soon realize that Musk is in need and SpaceX is the only company they can truly rely on, especially if there ever arises a need to thoroughly put this project to a test in a real-life scenario. There are, however, companies that are working to compete against SpaceX. There is still a lot of scratchy information about the actual rockets that will be used to transport goods, and there is barely any information about the structure of this transportation. For many years, having received some rocket parts from Russia, rockets that were launched to space would not be reusable due to the impact of their launch and messy landing. This is why SpaceX has stood out among many spacecraft manufacturing companies. SpaceX has been launching reusable spacecraft for years now. The Falcon Heavy is also another advantage that they have over other companies. These are the boosters. Due to the complex nature of this request from the government, Tesla still needs to prove that they are capable of carrying out such missions. This means there still has to be tests run, and if Tesla manages to pull it off, the project will start much sooner than first thought. The word has not yet come out as to when these tests will be run, although it will be soon. There are also few spaceports, and this runs the danger of making a possible disaster unbearable for the spacecraft that would be stranded somewhere in the world. The government maintains that they will assist in creating more craft ports in order to help the situation. This proves that when a great company combines with the government, the possibilities are endless. Starlink will also play a part in this contract, as the constellation satellites will be used to interconnect the internet from space, which will be an undisturbed territory for the internet, meaning it will be faster and more effective for the user relating to flying the aircraft. It's amazing how lately the military is heavily dependent on satellites for their military operations. It assists with live streaming and conferencing. What we know so far is that space has released about 2,000 satellites for this, and anything more is simply luxury for the early stage of this space technology. None of the events taking place between Russia and Ukraine seem to make sense. However, should this ever be the begin of a World War III, Elon Musk's invention and assistance to the US government could prove the United States a super powerful force to go against. Now, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section and whether you think Elon Musk's SpaceX intervention could help protect the US. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.